We have some big news right now. Donald Trump's tariffs on China are impacting farmers the most, and many of them have buyer's remorse for even voting for Donald Trump in the first place. One of the top products that is tariffed is the U.S. soybean, and U.S. soybean exports, according to CNN, are now subject to a total tariff of 135% because of the 10% tariff imposed in March, along with the 125% tariff announced last week. If you recall, back in 2018, the winner of the first U.S.-China trade war wasn't U.S. farmers, but rather Brazil, because Brazil became the world's leading soybean exporter. And since then, exports to China have grown 280%, while U.S. exports have remained flat. Many soybean farmers in the Midwest actually voted for Donald Trump. They come from states that are red states that voted for Donald Trump consistently, both in 2016 and in 2024. And Trump had long promised exemptions or support for farmers, but they haven't received any bailouts just yet. And some are now even having buyer's remorse because their businesses are going to suffer because they can't export the number of soybeans that they were before.
In the rolling fields of the Midwest, where rows of corn stretch to the horizon and tractors are still a farmer's best friend, a quiet reckoning is taking place. Many of the farmers who once stood proudly in red hats, chanting "Make America Great Again," are beginning to reflect and, in some cases, regret. These were the backbone of Trump country. Rural, hardworking, fiercely patriotic. They believed in promises of better trade deals, deregulation, and a return to the good old days. But the reality that followed was more complicated. Tariff trouble. When the trade war with China escalated, it wasn't Wall Street that felt the sting first. It was the soybean growers in Iowa and the dairy farmers in Wisconsin. Export markets shrank. Prices dropped. The promised better deals never quite materialized. Subsidies came, but many felt like Band-Aids slapped on self-inflicted wounds. Labor shortages, anti-immigration rhetoric played well on TV, but in practice, it left some farmers desperate. Crops rotted in the fields without enough migrant labor to harvest them. Dairies that depended on undocumented workers faced silent shutdowns.
Everyone, I have some late breaking news. China now gets all its soybeans from Brazil because of Donald Trump's tariffs. So you got to think, how much money did the United States lose over this? How much taxable income did the United States lose? So now Brazil is China's #1 importer for these soybeans. They're getting it all from Brazil. So how do you think this is hurting the American people? Because of Donald Trump's tariffs, China does not rely on the United States for this product. So basically, the farmers are losing, and the workers and everyone else involved in the soybean industry, which is also people who deliver it, transport. So it's a big chain, and they're all losing. So Mr. Trump, I bet Brazil is absolutely thankful for what you did.
Regarding all these farmers that are now crying about possibly losing their farms because they voted for Trump, this is why you absolutely should not feel bad for any of these farmers that voted for Trump. Now, the ones that didn't vote, yes, feel sorry for them, go support them, do whatever you need to do. But the ones that voted for Trump, do not feel sorry for them, and let me tell you why. I am a builder, and I've been building shit in Oklahoma City going on like 20 years now, and farmers are not stupid. If you have the ability to manage a farm and understand the weather, the climate, your machinery, the chemistry that goes into your crops, you are not a stupid person. You're just not. And especially when you come from generational farming, you have the ability to look ahead and predict what you need to survive. And so when you have two candidates where you have Kamala Harris on one side giving you a whole fucking list of shit that she's going to do for you and make your life better, and then you have Trump on the other side who can't even come out with a normal sounding sentence, and you still vote for that guy, and you are a farmer, you are either racist or sexist or both. And they're only crying now because now they are being treated exactly how they voted for other people to be treated. Got that? They are being treated how they voted for other minorities, people of color, everybody else, poor people, sick people. That's how they voted for other people to be treated. And now they're the ones being treated that way by losing their livelihood, their homes, their income, their farms. So do not feel sorry for them. This is exactly what they had coming. Quick follow-up as to why exactly would Trump be doing this to farmers anyways, and I'm guessing 99% chance it's because he wants to bankrupt farms so his corporate buddies can come in and do a land grab. Basically what you have been seeing the last few years, major companies buying up a bunch of rental houses and jacking up the price of rents, and it's all going to corporations. It's probably something similar to let these farms go to foreclosure and his corporate buddies be able to come in, swoop them up, and now you've got bigger companies involved in more of our day-to-day food.
One Minnesota farmer, 58-year-old Dan Miller, says he used to proudly fly a Trump flag on his combine. Now, it's folded up in his garage. It's not that I turned liberal, he says. I just started seeing through the noise. The tariffs cost me more than they helped. My son had to move to the city to find work, and I'm still trying to pay off equipment I bought when I thought things were turning around. Dan isn't alone. In Ohio, a third-generation corn farmer quietly took down his Trump 2024 banner after wildfires scorched nearby fields and no one came to help. We're on our own, he said. They talk big about loving the farmers, but where were they when the sky turned orange? Disillusionment is creeping in, not just economically, but morally. Many farmers say they were drawn in by Trump's plain-spoken style. He sounded like one of us, they said. But over time, it became clear that the words didn't match the actions. He talked tough, but he didn't listen, said Maria, a rancher in Texas. And the way he divided this country, it's not who we are out here. For farmers, pride and humility are part of the land. You work hard, you mind your business, and you help your neighbor when the barn roof collapses in a storm. That spirit got lost somewhere in the shouting matches and culture wars. Many MAGA-aligned farmers now admit they feel politically homeless, stuck between a party that forgot them and a movement that used them. We weren't asking for handouts, said George, a wheat farmer in Kansas. We were asking for fairness, for stability, for a little respect. What we got was chaos. In the heartland, regret is a quiet thing. It doesn't come with protests or hashtags. It looks like a flag taken down. A conversation over coffee that starts with, I used to believe. It's a man who voted red all his life deciding maybe it's time to just vote for someone who tells the truth, even if it's uncomfortable.
China now faces up to 245% tariffs on imports to the United States as a result of its retaliatory actions. This statement is coming from the White House website just hours ago. On top of this, in an effort to isolate China, the Trump administration is now negotiating with 70 countries to restrict trade with China in order to receive reduced tariffs. This idea was initially proposed by Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Keep in mind that just last week, China vowed to, quote, fight to the end on these tariffs. The U.S. threat to escalate tariffs is a mistake on top of a mistake. If the US insists on its own way, China will fight to the end. That was stated by the Chinese Minister of Commerce last Tuesday. While this is all going on, Reuters just reported a couple hours ago that China's Q1 GDP growth actually topped expectations. China's Q1 GDP grows 5.4% above the 5.1% forecast. This was largely due to solid consumption and industrial output, but analysts fear momentum could shift sharply lower as US tariffs pose the biggest risk to the Asian powerhouse in decades. Reuters also reported less than an hour ago that the Chinese ambassador to Spain stated that China wants partnership with the EU to counter US, quote, abuse. The Chinese ambassador to Spain stated that Europe should drop its export controls on certain high-tech products, including semiconductors, as well as tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and limitations for Chinese companies to access Europe's 5G network. In return, Beijing has been opening up sectors such as telecommunications, banking, or manufacturing for foreign investments. For alarming developments, make sure to click the link in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to stay up to date on geopolitics, world news, and more.
And to the people who voted for Trump and are trying to apologize about it now because they regret their decision because we didn't know that he was gonna do this. Like, we thought he was gonna help our community. Oh, we don't forgive y'all. Oh no, y'all could take that fuck ass apology and shove it right up your motherfucking ass because we told y'all what was gonna happen if he was in office. We told y'all. We've been through this before. How are you gonna vote for someone and saw what they did in office and then vote for him? Now look at us. We're stuck with him for 4 years because y'all were too stubborn to see the truth. Talk to the hand.
At the end of the day, this isn't just politics, it's personal. It's crops lost, dreams stalled, and flags lowered in silence. For some of these farmers, the MAGA dream turned into a rural nightmare, And now they're left wondering, were we fighting for something real or just chasing shadows? Here at Orbit Point, we dig deep, past the headlines, straight to the heartland. If this story made you feel anything, hit that like button like a tractor hitting fresh dirt. Smash subscribe, ring the bell, and stick around, because the truth, it grows where you least expect it.